ጤና ይስጥልኝ የኢትዮ ዩዝ ሚዲያ ተከታታዮች ዛሬ በስቱዲዮአችን ውስጥ ሁለት እንግዶች አሉን እንግዶቻችን ወይዘሮ አሰለፈች ኤቨን እና ወይዘሮ ማውሪን ኤቨንስ ይገኛሉ እንዲሁም ፍጹም እንግዳችን ሆኖ ሳይሆን የኛ ባልደረባ ነው እዚህ ይገኛል እና ዛሬ ባለፈው ሳምንት እሁድ አሰለፈች በኢትዮጵያ ኮሚኒቲ ውስጥ ተገኝታ ስለ ኢትዮጵያዊ አዳፕትድ የሆኑ ልጆችና በዛም በተመለከተ ከዛም አልፎ ብዙ ነገሮችን ኢትዮጵያኖች አቅርባ ነበር ብዙ ሰዎች ያንን ተመልክተው በጣም ተደንቀው ነበርና በመደነቅ ብቻ ብዙ ትምህርት አግኝተው ነበር ያንን ደሞኛ ለኢትዮ ዩዝ ሚዲያ ተከታታዮች ስፔሻሊ ለወጣቶች እዚህ መተው ማየት ያልቻሉ እዛ መተው ኢትዮጵያ ኮሚኒቲ መተው ማየት ያልቻሉትን እዚህ ደግሞ አስተላልፈን ብዙ ሰዎች ይሄን እንዲያው ለመጋበዝ ስለፈለግን ነው ማለት ነው እና ዛሬ በፕሮግራሙ መሰረት አሰለፈች እንኳን ደህና መጣሽ ወይዘሮ ማውሪን እንኳን ደህና መጡ እንግዲህ ፕሮግራሙ በእንግሊዘኛ ነው የሚሆነው ይቅርታ እና በእንግሊዘኛ ስለሆነ እንግዶቻችን ከተቻለ ምናልባት ትርጉም ከፈለጋችሁ ዲቪዲ አቅርበን ትርጉሙን ለማቅረብ እንችላለን ምክንያቱም ይሄ መልቲሚዲያ ሪሶርስ ትሬኒንግ ኢንስቲትዩት የዛ አይነት ካፓሲቲ ስላለው መስራት እንችላለን በዛ መንገድ ማለት ነው እንግዲህ ያው ወደ ፕሮግራማችን እንሄዳለን
Okay. Thank you, Sultan. So welcome again, Aselefech and Maureen. So we're going to go into a little bit of conversation about what the event was about this past Sunday. But before we go into that conversation, I'd like to invite you, Aselefech, to talk about a little bit of your background, and we'll start from there.
Well, hello all. My name is Aselefech Evans. I was adopted from Ethiopia in 1994 when I was about 6 years old. I've been here for 17 years now. I am a junior rising senior at the University of Maryland in the public health field as a family science major. Currently, I have had the opportunity of coming to Seattle and speaking on my journey back to Ethiopia and talking about issues of transracial adoption, race, and what it means to be Ethiopian adopted adult.
Great, great. Thank you. We heard, as Sultan has mentioned it, the event was really well received this past Sunday, and unfortunately some of us couldn't make it, but we're very lucky to have you here today so you can share with the general community and our audience about the event. So this past weekend, as you know, on Sunday, the event was held at the Ethiopian Community Center, and the event was well received, and unfortunately some of us couldn't attend, but we're very lucky to have you here today to share with our audience and the community in general what the event was about. So if you could take a few minutes and describe what the event was about, and also what your participation was accomplished at that event, and what the goal was.
Okay, well, here in Seattle, there happens to be a huge Ethiopian population. In particular, it's a large Ethiopian adoptive community here. I came here to speak about my journey, my adoption story, but to also kind of talk about issues that could be controversial in terms of adoption and what's going on with policies in Ethiopia. As of May 2011, adoption was cut back by 90%, which means that a lot of children from Ethiopia will not be sent to the United States for adoption anymore. So I basically want to talk about what do we do, where do we go from there, and at the event I was able to talk about my views on adoption and how I feel about the change. And I guess one of my, what I felt was controversial and others might not have received well was that I'm actually kind of glad that Ethiopia has cut adoption by 90%. Not saying that adoption is not a good option, but I feel as though it should be the last option. If we can find families for the orphans, if there's relatives in Ethiopia that are willing to take the kids in, I think that's a better option. Just removing kids from their country of origin, I think, can be a bit tricky. You can lose culture. You have to adapt in a new environment. So I guess I was just here to kind of just talk about my point on adoption and what I think is what new movement should be going on. And I think the new movement should be that we need to focus on Ethiopia, its infrastructure, and work on how we can, better help the country than to kind of bring the kids to the United States. And,
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. That was great. Let me turn it over to Mom for a second. So, I don't know, you participated in the event as well. So, now when you adopted Aselefech way back in '94, of course the times were very different then, and where we are today times are again very different today, and where we are in the sort of the adoption cycle and where the government's policies today are. So, in light of what Aselefech just brought up. So maybe you can give us a little bit of compare and contrast from '94 to today, and ways what your thoughts are on how the event that was held on Sunday is helpful to the community and adoptive families in general as well.
Absolutely. When we adopted in 1994, there were 54 children who came to the United States from Ethiopia. In 2010, I think there were somewhere over 2,500 children. There have been approximately 20,000 children adopted from Ethiopia to the United States in the last 20 years, which is a small number in some ways and which is an enormous number in other ways. I think there's more awareness about the needs of children in Ethiopia. I think we are becoming more of a global community, and that becomes very important for us to be able to reach out and to connect in whatever ways we can. I think one of the pluses that comes out of the adoption movement is that adoptive parents feel, at least I do, and I know a lot of others do, feel a very strong connection to Ethiopia, and indeed a very strong desire to give back to that country because of the amazing blessings that we have received in terms of our children. Aselefech has a twin sister, and the two girls came to us in 1994. And nothing but an astonishing blessing, and nothing also, I can't look at them but to think that they represent the potential of Ethiopia as well, as is true for all children in so many ways. I think there's a tremendous interest in giving back to Ethiopia as well. Aselefech and her sister Adonech are part of the diaspora in a different way. Their movement was not voluntary, and in some ways Aselefech feels a very strong connection, I think, to Ethiopia, and she'll be able to better talk about that. But I think that's a real plus as well, as far as that can come out of adoption as well.
Yeah, I think the misconception is that a lot of people think that when you're adopted, or what I view, is that you don't feel connected to that country of origin anymore. But for me, ever since I went back to Ethiopia and was able to reunite with my biological family, I've had this urge of giving back, this sense of I have country pride. I'm very prideful of where I came from, and out of that I want to give back. And I know a lot of the things that I've done is, one of the events that I did in February of 2012 was I did a fundraising dinner at University of Maryland. I got TEAC and ACIO, two sororities and fraternities, big sororities and fraternities involved, and they believed in, I've talked about my journey and my story of adoption, and they were very, touched. And these are students that have nothing, we don't have that much in common. I mean, we're from two different places, but for them to just believe in my cause, to want to give back, I thought was very powerful, and that just shows you what students can do and how collaboration can make a different change.
Right.
So.
It's a very good point. I think you both of you raised a very important point that the diaspora, we feel like we own a lot of the issues and that we want to help and contribute in some shape or form. But there's a missing link that you've identified, that the adoptee children are numerous enough now, like you said, up to 20,000, that we sometimes disregard, not intentionally, but maybe just because of lack of awareness, that they, like Aselefech, can contribute in immense ways to some of the issues that we're witnessing. So I'm glad to hear that you've taken up the initiative and doing this. So we're very happy to hear that. So now let's talk a little bit about the kinds of things that we can focus on, or you're thinking of could be done in your role, and some of the things that maybe you think going forward you want to participate in. So what are the kind of things that you think would be helpful in your capacity to try to help alleviate some of the issues back in Ethiopia, as well as maybe in the adoptee families here in the U.S.?
I think what we need to do is just, for one, we need to educate people about what adoption is all about, and we also need to just get together as Ethiopian Americans, as Ethiopians, and kind of just, I think what people want to do is, I don't know, I feel like that we all have something to say but don't really voice it. And what we need to do is just voice things so that we can all can understand how each other feels. And like I said, the fundraising dinner that I did in February, it was successful, and that was just students working together. And I just feel like we all just need to come together.
Right.
And kind of like.
Okay.
That's good. One thing I just want to add on this.
Sure.
I know you're a student.
Right.
Would you tell us what school you go on? And you didn't tell us that part.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm a student at the University of Maryland, College Park. I was a sociology major. I just currently switched to family science, which focuses on issues of public health. And in the future, once I get my degree, I hope to work on public health issues in Ethiopia and globally.
So the fundraising was done in your school at Maryland?
Yeah, just to track back, the fundraising dinner was done in February 26, 2012. It happened because I went to Ethiopia in 2011, and I traveled with Ethiopia Reads, which is a nonprofit organization in Ethiopia and in the United States. I met with a friend named Jared, and he was at a school. Helping out. What was he?
The Freganet Foundation.
He was at Freganet Foundation, and he was volunteering there, and I was volunteering with Ethiopia Reads at different libraries, and we made a great connection. And once the trip was over, we decided to do a fundraising dinner. He got his fraternities and sororities involved. About 300 people showed up. We raised about $23,000, and we were able to send the money to Ethiopia Reads and Freganet Foundation so they can have money to fund the schools with resources and adequate.
Wow, it's incredible. $23,000 is a lot of money, and it could make.
It just shows you what students can do.
Right,
you know?
and this is just about yourself. I'm sure, like I said, you have a lot of support, but your initiative is really where it got you where you were, and you got $20,000. So let's talk a little bit about Ethiopian Reads, because I think Ethiopian Reads is something maybe near and dear to both of your hearts. So, but as an example of how youth can participate and take an initiative and really support a cause that could make a big difference, right? So I'll probably give time to both of you, because I know both of you are quite involved in that. But it would be a very good sampling of how youth can really contribute if they really want to. So I don't know, maybe start with Mom first and Maureen.
Sure.
Okay.
Ethiopia Reads is a small but very vibrant nonprofit that works to create a culture of literacy in Ethiopia by bringing libraries and books to the children. And so when you talk about youth and education, it's such a big part of any young person's life, education here in the United States. We are hoping to bring more libraries, more books to children in Ethiopia, particularly in areas that don't have the access to books, don't have access to libraries. We have, at this point, planted over 50 libraries throughout Ethiopia. We established the first children's library ever in Addis. We have several reading centers. We have reading centers or libraries in every region in Ethiopia as well. And we're very proud of what we've done. We're hoping to continue training librarians and teachers, Ethiopian librarians and teachers, to work in the schools, to work with the children, to bring books. And we've done some publishing as well in English, but also in local languages, Amharic, Tigrinya, and Oromia, and other languages, so that we have children's books in the languages that they're reading, as well as in English, and good quality ones as well. But we're trying to do that. And so it's so important for young people to get involved and to not take for granted, and I would say as a parent, not take for granted what they have in terms of the books, in terms of the technology, in terms of the media, but to say, wow, I'm really lucky to have this, and maybe I can share this and bring this to other children in some way.
That's true. Very good. Any thoughts on Aselefech? Particularly, maybe if you can maybe expand on a bit on your volunteerism and how maybe it has an impact and things like that would be great.
I mean, when my mom used to always talk about Ethiopia Reads in the house, and I never knew. I mean, I knew what they did, and I knew that they did great work in Ethiopia, but I was immature and just really was not involved in volunteering and stuff. But what changed my life was when I went to Ethiopia in 2011 and really saw the work that they do. I mean, these are people volunteering their hours, their time, and just really working hard because they believe in this community. They believe in Ethiopian kids, and it's all for a good cause. And what I would say is you can even Google Ethiopia and you'll find a billion different organizations where you can go to links where they will show you how you can be a part of them. It will say volunteer opportunities. But I think it's just sometimes I think the hard thing that kids have is trying to get resources. So like I said, you can go on the internet and Google Ethiopian something, and I'm pretty sure you'll find more than enough resources or information about how to get involved in the Ethiopian community or just in general just to help.
Right. And as we have discussed before prior to the interview, that anybody can contribute and help in any shape or form. I think it's better to do something than nothing.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important to encourage youth that this avenue is there to be able to do that. So I know you've talked about Ethiopian Reads, and I think for our audience today, we'll probably highlight the information for Ethiopian Reads on screen, so that will be available. Any other organizations that you two support or think would be worthwhile for you to participate in or should support possibly?
We've worked along the way with TESFA.org as well, which has schools for children, also has Team TESFA with runners, training runners, young men and young women. And of course, it's one of the many things that Ethiopia is known for is the quality of its athletes. And so we have a program, TESFA has a program to help support the runners and to hopefully bring education and opportunities to them as well. I just kind of would like to follow up on something that you said as well. Small things make a big difference. It is wonderful and amazing, the fundraiser that Aselefech and the others did to raise $23,000. Absolutely incredible, and it's huge, the amount that will help. Even $5, $10, though, makes a big difference, and even a book or two can make a big difference. So I would just like to add that as well. Small things are great as well.
And the other thing I just want to talk about it as a woman right now, you are, as in Ethiopia, especially if you go to Ethiopia, a lot of girls, they don't go to school, they work hard, and their parents, they can't afford. You probably saw a lot of things there.
Yes.
Do you have anything you want to say about that?
I mean, I was just amazed to see little kids, a 6-year-old, just carrying heavy sticks and heavy water jugs on their backs, and how, I mean, that's just labor intensive for a small child to just be doing something like that. And I just feel like women in Ethiopia are one of the people who we need to help. We need to recognize as they don't have that many opportunities, especially in the rural areas. Education, they don't get much education, and I think there needs to be more focus on women's rights and just a movement, for women to be uplifted in Ethiopia. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think so. Because we lack that. Most of the time we have a lot of men here come and talk about women's issues. I always say I wish I have some ladies come and talk about those things because their experience is different from us, I think. And to see you coming here and talk about that, your mom, I think is a very important thing for us.
Right, definitely. I mean, the woman's such an important part of society, and the burden they have to take on to support the families is sometimes disproportionate to in certain areas, in certain cases. But I'm glad you recognize that, you saw that, and I'm assuming you're looking to maybe do some work in the area in the future. Yeah,
well, hopefully. Yes, I do. I definitely want to. I'm just, I'm still a college student, and today I could switch to, something else. My major could switch in a second, but my heart is in Ethiopia, and it is in every avenue, whether it's kids, women, animals, whatever. My heart does lie with Ethiopia, and I do want to help in any way possible, whatever that means.
Yeah, so. You've been here for a week now, right?
Yes.
How do you like Seattle?
Oh, Seattle's beautiful. Nice people. Huge Ethiopian community.
Yes.
I know Washington, D.C. has a big community, but Seattle people are different. You guys are a little bit more low key,
we're not as stressed as
you guys aren't as intense as we DC people are.
So your mom lives in Seattle?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna come more often?
Yes, definitely.
Yes. So definitely, I mean, as
you guys have been good to us. So
thank you. In preparation for this interview, as all of you know, we spent some time yesterday conversating about your background and Maureen, your experience here. in the U.S. As an adoptee family, and one of the things we did was shared a meal at the local Ethiopian restaurant, a traditional meal. And so, what do you think of our food compared to DC? Is it better?
Now you're putting me in the hot seat here. No, I thought the food was really good. I love Ethiopian food. I've always loved Ethiopian food. So the tips was really good.
That's right.
And just being around people was the best part, though, and having this open conversation. So, but the food was good.
It was good. Great. So
and I liked to meet your family too.
Yeah, that was really nice.
And their sister. And,
yes.
And Say's, son and daughter.
Yeah.
And Maureen was there too. Yeah.
Food brings people together.
Exactly.
Especially Ethiopian food.
We're gonna have more of that. She lives in Seattle.
I hope so. That's right.
Invite her more. Probably.
Thank you. That would be great. I would like that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We would love to have you again and participate in this type of conversations. I think it's important for the youth to hear the message you have, and I think you have a very important message. And don't underestimate your message. I think it's always a very important message. And I guess in closing, we thank you very much for joining us this evening and sharing your message. I think that we've all learned something from you, and for those that did not attend, at least we can watch the show today and learn something from you. So in closing, any other remarks you would like to share with us?
I want to say thank you so much for welcoming me and us here. I think there's so much that we can do in partnership as we continue to talk. I really appreciate the opportunity for us to talk together today, and I hope that other additional doors open and we continue to work together.
Thank you. Well,
I definitely agree. I think the big thing is that we all just are able to have open conversations where we don't get upset about different issues, but look at them as a different perspective and just kind of move from there and see what positive things can come out of them. So.
I think this is a good start also for us, and a lot of youth probably they're gonna ask a lot of questions later. And if you have a Facebook or Twitter or whatever these days, I think with the youth
Facebook,
they can. Okay.
If they want to connect with you, we'd be happy to, if you're willing,
to
share your email address or
your
Facebook address. We can put it up and available for our audience.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you can just find me at Aselefech Evans at Facebook.
Facebook, okay.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
መጪውን የኢትዮጵያን ሚሌኒየም ልክ እንደ አብሮ መብላት መጠጣታችን ለለውጥ ተጋግዘን በመስራት የሀገራችንን እድገት የምናይበት ጅምር እንዲሆን የእግዚአብሔር ቅዱስ ፈቃዱ ይሁን እላለሁ። መልካም በዓል፣ መልካም ጊዜ። መልካም ጊዜ እንዲሆን አሁን ይጠበቃል ከኛ ላላህ